God is like an unknown entity.
Yeah, that's like an impossible question to answer, I think.
I'm still trying to figure that out.
We will never know what God is. Any description of who God is like, it would be so different to who he is.
I can probably say what I don't think of him as more than I can say what I do think of him as. And even using him is an interesting part of it, I guess. I don't think of him as like a person in the clouds, or that image of like God being in trees and nature in sort of such a like specifically in the tree or in the flower or in the dog or whatever.
I think it's impossible to know what God is, but God to me is some kind of force that is extremely powerful.
I see it currently with my views as something that is everything and everywhere.
That is alive and living and everything around me.
It's something which is beyond our comprehension.
The unknowable in essence, the unlimited.
Where you feel the presence of something bigger than yourself.
God is the most merciful, the most just, the most loving being there is.
He is the ultimate reality. The being that is not part of creation, but has, since he loved his handiwork, he decided to create the creation. And as a mark of his love, and in it, he has given some of the mysteries of his own self.
God is an educator. God teaches me to be my best self.
At its core, God is creation and God is love.
He is someone to speak to, someone who guides me, someone who guides humanity. He is utter perfection. He is like the sun. We revolve around it, we depend on it. I don't think it's a person, it's more of a being. I don't really know what it is, but it's something, it's hard to explain who he is.
I feel like God is love in action, and that shows up in people, and it shows up in interactions, in like, how can we not look at the universe and all the creations that are in it and not think that something greater than us has had a hand in creating it?
The God that I believe in is a creator, a sentient being that we cannot define or ever understand. So yeah, more like the, I guess, Asian abstract Tao sort of thing. So instead of God being a man like let's say the stereotypical old man with a beard, old white man with a beard, that's not the God that I would believe in. Or let's say any God that you or I would be able to describe is not the God that I believe in.
God is all-encompassing, all-being, all-knowing, all-loving.
Who is so unconditionally with you all the time, who loves you, who supports you, who understands the person you are.
God is holy and completely and absolutely sanctified from anything we attribute to ourselves in this physical world. He's non-physical. His purpose for us, his reason for creating us is the love that he has for us. Therefore, he puts these boundaries around us so that we may not get hurt.
There's so much behind it that we as humans are not able to understand it, and that he's created us for a mission, which is to serve humanity in him. And to a very large extent, I don't understand it. I'm not gonna lie, I don't understand why we are created to serve him by serving humanity. But there's just an unshakable belief that this is right, and I just feel safe and comfortable serving him and serving humanity.
To me, God is unknowable. I don't know anything about God other than the kind of qualities that human beings have. The good in human beings gives some kind of clue as to maybe what God could be.
God is a very loaded term, but the belief that there is some form of consciousness separate from our human existence that both predates and postdates what we understand to be the physical realm of this life is, I think, a topic beyond theology and religion, but something where forces of science and religion are beginning to talk to each other. It's early in that conversation. But I've always had that belief, I've always had that faith, and to some degree I read things maybe that confirm that.
Honestly, I think God is, it doesn't have to be a religious word. God is just a way to describe a higher power, if anything. But I think with some religions, they see God as this one, like that is my God, you know what I mean? But like God is for everyone, regardless if you're spiritual or religious.
And I think for anyone, regardless if you believe in God or not, God will always bestow bounty and his blessings upon everyone. And yeah.
The concept of God is a concept of oneness. This concept that, we give different terms, God, Allah, Rab, Vaiguruji, so many beautiful names or titles that we give. But it's all the same. It's all the same.
God is the one that created me, I have no doubt. He is the source from which I come. And it is my earnest belief that when I was conceived, then he was kind enough to accord me a soul, a human soul from his spiritual realms. So I became a human being with a human soul, the characteristic of which is power of utterance, ability to speak, an ability to have a creative mind, to explore things, to explain things, to learn things, and to develop.
There is this idea of a contingent world, which Abdu'l-Baha speaks on, that this world has opposites of like light and dark, good and bad. And so that shows that there is goodness, and that if there's an imperfect individual and that we as humans cannot be perfect, then there must be something that is perfect in this world. So that's another reason which really helped me understand the existence of God, is this idea of perfection.
I think as a Baha'i, I know that God will be the one who sent down the manifestations that also bring not just like a lot of natural phenomena or those intangible feeling to me. They are actually very tangible, that they are scriptures, they are writings, they are real guidance for all of us that we can apply in the work, in our life. And I mean, I think I just never think it as a binary or in one perspective. In different circumstances, I just look at God in a very different way. So if I remind myself, oh yes, God is the one who sent down the messenger, I almost feel like there's one person who passed down the stuff for us.
But for me, I think the purpose of this life is to try to define and build capacities that one hopes and believes will carry through to the health of your next life. It's important for a fetus in the womb to receive nutrition and health, the quality of life that child will have when they are born. I increasingly think about what quality of life I have here, physically, but spiritually, intellectually, emotionally, for the world that comes beyond this and the encounter with this entity, this consciousness that we refer to as God, but is, I think, an unknowable essence, certainly unknowable in this world.
Like, you can't see God. You can't see the things he gives us. You can't see, like, God created these things. No, you can't see anything. I totally agree with that.
It's still there, regardless of whether or not you understand it. I don't mean it as in God. I mean I see God as not like a person. So I think of it as that there's God in everything.
And so I used to call it the universe. Oh, that's what people called it around me. So I was like, the universe. I was like, okay, well, what's the universe? It's an all-encompassing power that guides us and looks after us. And so I was like, okay, I grew up with God. What's the difference there? And so that was my realization to be like, okay, I do basically believe in God. I'm still a bit unsure about for sure.
I don't necessarily picture God as a person, because I think people are something that God created. So God can't look, but I know, like, for us, seeing God as something other than in our terms is kind of hard to comprehend. I feel like it's easier to comprehend God if you think of God as like a man in the clouds, or like in heaven, or wherever you think that heaven is. But I kind of just feel it's like an energy, like he's an energy that's present. You know how when you're conversing with someone and you feel their soul, or you're connecting with someone's soul, that I feel like is what God feels like, that energy.
I believe in this guardian angel, this high energy above myself. And I haven't fully developed if it is, as you say, like this greater God, or like if it's just for me. But the reason why I believe in it is because I believe in that, but I also believe in perhaps the energy with individuals around us. And I guess maybe from this personal lived experience, I then choose to believe that maybe there is a higher spiritual being or higher spiritual energy that we can believe in.
And I see God in people in maybe different ways, who they are and the energy that they give out, the type of beauty that the inner soul that I see. That to me, I think, is how I would explain God.
At the end of the day, if God in itself doesn't exist, something does. There is a higher power. Now you want to name it God, you want to just name it coincidence, you want to name it any, different people name it different things based on their beliefs. And I just feel like it's okay, but if it encourages you to actually be a better person, then why not? At the end of the day, that's the goal. Some people do it with the fear of faith, some people do it with the love of God, and some people just do it because they think it's right.
There's a melody someone wrote to one of the quotes of Abdul Baha or Baha'u'llah, I'm not sure. And it goes, love is not of the body, but it's only of the soul. And so my relationship with God is to know what true love is. And it is one of love, I think, actually, deep down. And the love is what supports everything else and gives me power. You see, love is the most powerful force in the world, and I believe that. And I think it enriches, it sustains. But love is also, like we know this, it's submission, it's compromise. But then love is also work and it's effort. And I've known the most beautiful love through loving God.
It is expansive, just like the cosmos. In an energy source, you can feel it when you can connect with that expanse, with that beautiful expanse of love and divine.
God is love. You hear that all the time. Well, that's massive. I mean, it's bigger than anything that you could ever imagine and more. Like you couldn't even, you can't, if you could try and get to that space and place, you're just constantly, and you're emanating that out of you.
And I know we say he, but we know God is unknowable and he's an essence, but we have to refer to him in some way, is a loving parent, very much a loving parent, and a parent who will answer all your questions, but sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes the answer is later. Wait, be patient. So my view of God is that he loves us. Veiled in my immemorial being, I knew my love for thee, hence I created thee. We are created because of the love of God. God loves us.
Again, God doesn't show you like, hey, this is what I'm trying to tell you. This is what I'm trying to show you. No, he doesn't. It's all these very intricate, very, again, unknowable things that are kind of delivered to you in a trickle. And one day you get to kind of put all these elements together and you go, thank you, God, for bringing me here because I am really happy.